I'm ready to tell my story. I think y'all held me accountable actually, because it was so many of y'all that, you were like, I want to hear this story. I'm ready to hear this story. So I'm ready to tell it. And what better time to tell it than this month? This is the first day of February, and it is also American Heart Month. And my story centers around that. I'm wearing the red. It's my story, it's my testimony. And I'm glad to be able to share it with you all. I even wrote it out. I'm used to telling the story, um, but people don't know this. I forget details all the time. You're telling your story, they don't know that you forgot a detail, but afterwards, you're like, dang, I forgot to say this. So I didn't want to do that with y'all. I literally wrote it down. So I will be referring to my notes so that y'all can know every detail of what happened to me, just so we can spread the awareness, um, and some of my symptoms, what my symptoms were, in my story. It is a three-part. So I want you to stay with me on this journey. Please. You want to hear it. Trust me. And I want you to share it. Help me advocate. Uh, this is part one. I was dying and I didn't know it. Crazy, right? Thanks for being with me. Part one. Dreams interrupted. I was dying and didn't even know it. In 2010, I was 28 years old and living in Hollywood, California, and finally chasing my dreams. I had just started pursuing acting and modeling, something I'd always wanted to do, but never had the guts to fully go after it. But life felt exciting, full of possibilities. I was expecting my first child, and although unexpected, I was thrilled to become a mother. But then everything changed. It started with debilitating migraines, the kind that made it impossible to function. The doctors chalked it up to pregnancy symptoms and sent me home. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right, especially when I lost use of my left leg overnight. Again, the doctor sent me packing, saying it was the baby sitting on my sciatic nerve. After weeks of going to the doctors and being sent home, I was tired, weak, and afraid, and I just wanted to go home to mama. My sister helped me pack up my life, including hers, and we booked a flight to South Carolina. I was home for a couple of weeks when, without warning, my world crashed. I had been so scared, I literally slept with my mom every night. One morning, she thought she heard me call her name. When she came back into the room, I was unconscious. I woke up in the hospital, not one, not two, but 30 days later, confused and terrified. I had unknowingly suffered two mini strokes and lost all memory. I only knew who my mom and my sister were. I had even forgotten I was pregnant, and I didn't recall that Obama was president at the time. Despite having gnarly memory loss, I remembered my dad. I knew who he was when he finally made it to my bedside. He brought a feeling of peace and comfort with him as he covered me with his Native American blanket. I must have fallen asleep because I didn't see or hear him leave, and I didn't see my blanket. When my mom and sister came back in, I let them know Daddy had stopped by and brought me his blanket, and for some reason I couldn't find it. Imagine, if you will, having to learn that your dad had passed away all over again, and it had been 2.5 years since. My body felt foreign. And as the doctors ran test after test, the news, it got worse. An infection called endocarditis had reached my heart, and I was in cardiogenic shock. That's a condition so severe that My heart was failing to pump enough blood to keep me alive. My family members remember the look on the doctor's faces. They weren't just concerned, they were afraid. My body was shutting down, and my baby Liam was still inside of me, and he was fighting for survival. There was no time to wait. I needed emergency open heart surgery to replace my mitral valve that had been damaged. Doctors made the decision to induce a vaginal birth. A C-section would have been too risky. I don't remember the moment he was born. One second I was pregnant, and the next he was gone and rushed to the NICU. I remember them trying to help me recall him. They even took pics of him in his incubator, which they had to blow up so that I could make out. I had lost quite a bit of sight, and everything and everybody was a blur. I remember them taking me to the NICU to see him. I recall the classical music as they wheeled me in, and miraculously, I could see his little face. I can't explain how, though. I wanted to hold him, but I couldn't. I did get to put my finger in his little tiny hand, a little piece of hope to grasp onto, even though at the time, he still seemed like somebody else's baby. I had a huge battle ahead of me. I was still in the process of dying, and I needed that surgery. Thank you for sticking with me on part 1. It makes my heart so happy. There's more, obviously. I've told you that. So I want you to stay on this journey with me all the way to part 3. After part 3, I think I want to do my first live. 1, because I've never done one and I'm excited to do it. 2, because I have things I want to show. Can't tell you what that is yet. You got to listen to the story, but it has stuff to do with my story. So I think it'll be really dope. So definitely stick with me and come to the live because I have some stuff to show you. But listen, before that, make sure you engage from the bottom up of this video. That would be great, and it would help me so much because, like I said, I'm trying to get the word out, and we're advocating, right? It's American Heart Month. We want to get the word out. It doesn't just happen to older people. It happens to young people too. So I think this is very important. Share it. Also save it so you can come back to it and share it some more. Definitely comment because I want to hear from you. If you have questions, I need the questions so I can answer them in the live. Like I can write them down, get my answer prepared. We're Gucci, right? So yes, definitely leave your questions, encouragement, anything. But whatever you do, questions, encouragement, whatever. Would you hashtag heart recovery for me and American Heart Month? I would love that. Thank you so much. Also, I would love if you would like this video, hit the heart. It's American Heart Month. Hit the heart. Thank you. And follow me. Follow me while I go on this journey because it's a never-ending journey. I do feel blessed. Sometimes our testimonies, we have them so that we can share them with others and help others. So I'm blessed to be able to tell this story. I'm blessed to be here. But if you can believe it or not, it did get worse before it got better. So do come back to part 2. Make sure you share it. Thanks.